Hello and welcome back for another episode of In Conversation with. Today we have with us the wonderful Reshmi Patel from Key Sounds UK. We had an amazing conversation about her journey into music, from discovering her love and passion for music to turning that into a thriving business. We talked about it all. And I think my favorite thing was her motto, sharing music together. And I think it really shines through in everything that she does. So yeah, I'm really excited for you guys to see the conversation. So let's jump straight in.
Um, cool. Yeah, this is very exciting. So I guess just to
Sure.
kick things off, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and how you got into tutoring?
Yeah, sure. So I got into tutoring because it was pretty much everyone else's idea, I'll be honest. It wasn't my idea at all. It was never on my agenda. So I'd always studied music as a young child. It was kind of my parents' idea to get into music. I had some interest because we used to have people come in and demonstrate different instruments. So yeah, then I just continued it. But many times I tried to kind of quit because I didn't see the point in it. Not that many people in our school at that time, or even outside school, were doing an instrument. So I thought, why am I the only one or very few people doing this? And then I felt that way for many, many, many years, even into high school, college. I didn't know enough people who were doing music, even on the side. So I thought, why would I do it then? It's clearly, can't be
Yeah.
that good if no one else is doing it. Um, and then my music teachers, there was quite a few of them, different instrumental teachers, different theory teachers. They kind of said, I think you could take this quite far. I think you'd be quite a good teacher. You have kind of the skills of a teacher. And then I didn't take much notice. I thought you're biased, you're a music teacher. Of course you're going to say that. You want
Mm.
more people to join your profession. So I didn't take much notice. And then we had a lot of teachers in our school at that time in college, which were like mentors. And they were trying to almost pick out everyone's strengths and, figure out where do you want to go next. And you're at that age where you have to kind of decide.
Yeah.
Um, so they also said the same thing. And I was thinking, why is no one listening to me? I want to do marketing. I don't want to do music. Um, but I do have a passion for music. The main reason I'm saying no is because I don't think it's a career. Like, that's not an option. So it was their idea. It was not my idea. And I went into marketing. So I did go into marketing full time. And then they said, at least try music, in the evenings or on a
On the
weekend,
side.
try it. Yeah, on the side, which is what I think a lot of tutors do. So yeah, that's what I did. And um, then basically both conflicted because the demand for piano was becoming more popular. So for a good few years, I did 9 to 5, and then in the evenings and on weekends, I'd do piano. And I did that for a few years because remember, I still loved the marketing. I still enjoyed it, wanted to carry on. And I still didn't see enough people doing music full time. So I thought, I still can't be the only one doing it. Why would I do that? As soon as both started to conflict even more, and then of course I had little social life and little energy because I was using all my time for piano and normal 9 to 5. So I was missing out on events, and either sometimes I'd go to them and I'd be exhausted. So
Mm.
I thought, something has to change. It's not sustainable. So I just chose piano and thought the worst case scenario, I'll come back to 9 to 5, worst case.
And like with Key Sounds, once you started it, how did you go about like finding clients and finding students? Because as you said, it's not very common for people to pick these things up. So was it hard initially?
Yes, very hard because, well, some parts were difficult, some parts not so much. I guess because my music teacher said, we'll help you with this and we'll give you some tips, then I had them for kind of mentoring and advice just in the initial phase. However, they progressed in different ways themselves. So it wasn't kind of it's not one fix, it's not you'll do
Mm.
this and you'll explode. That's not really how it works. Um, what happened was I started advertising in our local area, but not physically through the flyers. I put it on Facebook. I put it on Facebook groups and or just on my personal Facebook page at that time. Then I did make a piano um, Facebook page as well because I understood as soon as you type in groups, really, people start tagging different pages, and I thought, what's a page? And then I just looked into that. Then I realized people were also tagging Instagram accounts, so I made an Instagram page for key sounds. And at that time, I wasn't doing everything, 5 times a day or anything like that, but I was doing it regularly. I'd say at least 5, 6 times in a week, which at that time wasn't it was okay. Some people do multiple times a day, so it was okay though. It was more than enough to for people to start sharing the post, and then once I got students start sharing their videos, and then I asked everyone to write me a review on. Then I figured out Google My Business. But those are the main things. So Facebook groups and making sure we tag our Facebook page on there, and then Instagram page. But it was very difficult to make content because those types of social media channels did not exist when my music teacher started because they started decades before that. There was no internet, there was no social media. However, because my background is social media marketing, I thought I'll find a way. It was very difficult. At that time, I didn't know anyone else who was who had a music page in the UK at that time. There are some now, but I didn't know any others. So I thought, let me try and make it at least not just advertising, but educational tips for
Yeah.
students. Um, the parents were often asking me the same questions, so those were really easy to build because, 5 parents were asking me the same question. That's a frequently asked question now. So then I posted about it.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's really smart, like kind of combining the two skills. You enjoy marketing, you
Yeah.
love teaching, and you love instruments, and just kind of like bringing all that together. So that's that's incredible.
Yeah, I think I got lucky because most people who do music, they don't like marketing, I've noticed, which is just, now I look like I stand out even though it's an interest.
Yeah,
Um,
I've heard
but
that a lot from
yeah,
people, like just tutors in general, right? They love the tutoring side. That's why they get into it. That's their passion. But then when it comes to the admin side of things, when it comes to marketing, advertising, they just can't stand it. And on that note, I wanted to hear from you. How did you first come across TutorCruncher as well? Because you've been with us for about a year now, I want to say.
so I'm part of a tutoring group, which is probably the right place to share about it because I'm on a tutor call right now. It's called the Tutor Collective.
Wow.
Um, it's founded by someone called Peter Elliott, who runs a guitar school. He also has a couple of other instrumental teachers now, but it's mostly guitar. He founded it so much, like, as what I've said literally goes into what I'm about to say, but um, he founded it because there wasn't enough networking opportunities for tutors, not specifically music ones, but just generally tutors in the area that we live in. So I live very close to him. He lives in Bushy. That's one of our locations, but I live in Harrow, not too far away. And yeah, so he started that. I was literally one of the first 3 members. So when we started to be around a small table, and it was just 3 of us, and sometimes 2 of us if someone can't come. And now I want to say there's 20 or 25. It's growing every month. Someone in that group, his name is Zach Newman. He runs Newman Tuition. He is, I think he's all around the world, but he does online lessons and he has over 100 tutors and he uses TutorCruncher. He's been using them for almost a decade, I want to say,
Yeah.
but extremely long time. He is someone who I would consider a mentor of mine,
Wow.
even though he'd say the same to me, which is interesting because he's been in this game a lot longer than me. But I love what he said about TutorCruncher when I said I love to ask people what software they use. I think because I've grown up with technology, I like to know what other technologies are out there. Uh, and he says I use TutorCruncher. And I said, what else do you use? He says, I don't use much else. I said, why not? He said, because TutorCruncher does everything. And I said, what does that mean? Because, I usually I don't try to use 10 systems, but I try to use, maybe two or three, and they each serve a purpose. But he was trying to say, you don't need to do all of that, just use TutorCruncher. And I was like, you have to give me a demo or, give me more information because what do you mean everything? I don't understand. And he said, everything that you do for your admin, I guarantee at least it will be cut in half if you use TutorCruncher. And I said, okay, you can tell me more now. Yes, so we met up and it was one of our first ever meetups. So we went through why we started our businesses, similar to what I've just shared with you. And then we were talking about systems, technology, what's helped us grow. And he said TutorCruncher's one of the main things I'd say that's helped me grow, mostly because it saved him time, money, and helped him stay organized, is what he said. He said that he has the invoices automated. He can very easily see when something's gone wrong, especially if it's financially or with a class. And then in terms of his tax and the VAT threshold, when he approached that, it was really easy to stick with TutorCruncher because they have the split payment system in place. When I spoke to him back then, I knew we were approaching the VAT threshold, but I didn't know that TutorCruncher was one of very few platforms, literally only one of two out of six we researched that has split payments. So I thought, wow, okay, why are there not more? And yeah, I think I chose TutorCruncher over the other ones, especially the final two that we decided, because there were just a lot more automations. It's a lot more personalized. And like Zach said, when something goes wrong, it's very easy for me to find out what it is. And yeah, I guess the admin side is just saved because of the organization of it and the admin of the invoicing and everything. And one of my favorite features, specifically probably for us, I don't know if it applies for everybody, but making sure people have done the reports for students. I know everyone probably has a form of reporting or feedback, but I really think that it's crucial that the student has it as soon as possible. And it's an incentive for the teacher to do that because of the payment connection.
And I think you've already answered this question a little bit, but how has it helped shape the way you run your business? And also in terms of growth and scalability, what's that journey been like?
It's definitely helped so far. I think it's going to help more in the future because there are more features we could take advantage of. At the moment, it's helped specifically because of the split payments. We needed to put that into place just because of the kind of the VAT threshold that we mentioned earlier. But also, I guess the organization of tutor availability, I can just see it all in one place. I'd say we're quite organized from before, but it's more the all-in-one system that I was kind of looking for. And when to change was really difficult because we had organization for every system we used and we were able to easily switch between them. But I think every day if you're switching, apparently, you're just slightly less productive, even if it's organized. So I knew so many business owners ahead of me, not even in tutoring some of them, but they said, just try not to switch too much. And I felt like over the years, I just did less and less and less. So automatically productivity was going up. So I thought, I'm doing it. But then I really sat down probably last summer and thought about, what do we actually need to change now? And yeah, the TutorCruncher solved all the problems and tick those boxes.
This is one of my favorite questions to ask. What is your favorite thing about running Key Sounds?
It's quite crazy. If you ask our team, they'd say, Reshmi's really obsessed. Like she's in the zone. Like you just can't disrupt her, and it scares us, especially the teachers who've been there for the longest time. They genuinely said on our last team call, it scares us how much Reshmi's still interested. Not
I
just
love
interested
that
in
though.
the profession, but how much she wants to help. And it's very, very nice to hear from them because that is my goal. Because I think as a lot of people grow their tutoring business or any business, I think they become less involved, um, which is absolutely fine. Sometimes they are in that stage of life where they have to be less involved, and they might have children or they might be moving on to other things. But how to transition from starting to let go and growing the business at the same time, I think has to be done carefully. I think, yeah, I'm not just trying to run like a big agency, but um, making sure that it's a agency that still shows we have kind of a 3C philosophy. So it's to build confidence, to build communication, and to build a community. And I'd say that's also for teachers as well, because our teachers have already come from teaching backgrounds, so they're confident with teaching. But to be confident that you're part of kind of our community that is going to consistently, support you when you need to, makes them hopefully even more confident in delivering their service. And then the communication is, well, I just think it's a skill we all need because if we don't do it, then we're assuming too much.
Yeah.
And in an industry where most of our parents, if not almost all of them, don't know music, haven't experienced any lesson themselves, they have no idea the difference between one piano teacher and another. If we don't communicate, they're never going to know. And then the community aspect is kind of, we have a lot of concerts, and we're planning to have more in the future, but we have around 3 to 4 a year at the moment.
Oh, that's
So we're planning,
amazing. So do you put
yeah.
on like a showcase?
Yes, yes.
Wow.
Um, yeah, everyone comes to that. We should just have parents and the students, but now they bring their family members, friends, and that's where teachers also stand up and give tips to parents. And in between, in the intervals, in the breaks, it's a very full-on day for all of us. Where we're answering questions, and to me, that's the community feel, and that's what we're now at the moment trying to work on putting in our social media because I started it. I don't want it to be about me anymore. It's about everyone being together and capturing moments of a parent and a student who are connecting through music, even though in most of the pictures, the parent's not musical.
Um,
Sorry, my favorite thing, I don't everything.
everything, I know.
I'll pick one thing. I'll pick one thing. It's working with people who are smarter than me, who fill a puzzle. So I think a lot of the team, they do, every so often they say, thank you for everything I do, but I think we're doing everything together. So our slogan is sharing music together, and I think we're doing that because they have strengths I don't have, and they see a different perspective that I don't see. So I think together we're collaborating, and I think that's my favorite thing about it.
So yeah, final question. What's next for Key Sounds UK and what's next for you, basically?
So the next thing that we're working on, and we started just under a year ago, is that we started to work on our franchise. So Key Sounds is becoming a franchise. It's going to be called, well, it is called Key Sounds Music. And yes, so everything I've said that we want to take it across the whole of the UK. And people always ask me, do you want to take it across the world? I think that's a big question. Of course, I want to impact as many people as possible. However, how we built Key Sounds very, tailored to each person, making sure, every person is benefiting, even if it's just from one of our C's. Of course, the aim is for 3 C's, but even if it's just for one of those, and they are also supported in their lessons, in between the lessons, they can ask questions. They're challenged all the time so that they're constantly getting better. If we can achieve all of that in the just, a small part of the UK, then that's great. But we'll only expand gradually if we can still provide the same service, because I think that's where most people after a certain level of growth they struggle because it's grown too big for them to handle. Even with a team, I've seen people really struggle with that, and people close down, or just the service is not there at all. So I don't want it to be that. I want Key Sounds to be known as the key place to go. Yeah. What that is basically teaching people something I wish I knew, which is that you can have a full-time business in music education. Specifically, it's going to be still for piano. Even though I have a background of the other instruments, it's specifically for piano because the market needs it. The parents are still lost. They still, even in our school, like the most common conversation I'm having is, what are piano exams? How do I know if my child's progressing? How do I know if they're doing something wrong? So all those questions I'm still answering, and we've been doing this almost for a decade. So it's still not there. Okay, so I had the same questions 20 years ago. It's still not enough in the UK, so we need to have that answered. So any free materials that anyone learning an instrument, especially piano, we have free blogs on our website. And for the franchise side, we also have a new blog page which tells people, why on earth would I run a piano franchise? How on earth will I make money from it? Which is all the questions I had. And people still ask me today, by the way, even though we have a team. They still ask, how are you running lessons? And the answer is just literally the team and I are running lessons. And how to make sure it's sustainable is probably the main question people have as well. So it's great to start tutoring business. I think people understand, you tutor a couple of hours a week, you give them the lessons, you have the homework. But I think how to scale that and understanding the growth in the market and also how you will consistently keep someone engaged. I think that is why it's the franchise, because those are the hardest parts of it. And I think we've proven it so far, and we're going to do more of that.
Very cool stuff. And I wish you all the best. I think this is all so exciting. And yeah, thank you again, Reshmi. Thank you so much for doing this with me. It's been such a lovely conversation.
Thank you. I think without TutorCruncher helping me automate and organize Key Sounds UK, which is now our Harrow and Hillingdon base, without that, I wouldn't have been able to prepare agreements, operations manuals, testing out material for the franchise. So it's definitely helped with where we are right now.
Well, thank you so much for sticking around till the end. If you'd like to get in touch with Reshmi or check out her website, I've linked everything in the description below. And if you're a tutoring company and you want to share your journey with us, please reach out to me. I'd love to hear from you. That's also through the description below. So that's it for now, and I'll see you next time.